Okay, the recording has begun. We are live. If you need new paper, just tear another half sheet of paper. I cut some here for my in-person learners. If we run out, just cut more. But speaking to the rest of the Art Ones who are going to be watching this later, first period, Angelique has decided for us that we are going to start with the top left ear. So I'm going to move my tools off the screen here. All right, we're doing the ear, so I'm just gonna draw a box, okay? We don't need to fold the paper anymore. Just gonna draw a box and do an ear. So let's do it about this size. And you just want it big enough to fit an ear inside of it. I'm not using a ruler, don't overthink it. It's a small little box. Here's the size of my eraser, so you can gauge what size it is, okay? Here. Those of you who are trying to eat breakfast during Zoom, here's a spoon. It's not a big drawing, okay? It's smaller than a spoon. So it's a small little box. Just want it big enough to fit a drawing of an ear. All right. I paused for a moment, and hopefully everybody has that. Okay, before any shading, you want to draw the ear out. So we're just going to do the letter C. The curve is bigger up here. Comes down here and almost touches the bottom, like so. We have this negative shape right here that is created by the back of the head to the neck. So I'm just going to draw that curve here like this. Let me zoom in so you guys can see. I apologize. There you go. Sometimes I'm not looking at my camera. So if you can't see, just message me or unmute. Mr. Can you zoom in? And I'll remember to do that because it's helping the other Art Ones later on today too. All right, we're going to separate this by drawing a curve this way. Notice we are not using any straight lines except for the drawing of the boxes. Everything else is a curve. And we have some hair going up that way. These hair right here, I'm not going to draw them in. I'm just going to kind of map that out like this. I'm not going to draw the spaghetti strands. I'll wait till later. I don't want to get lost doing that right now. Okay, we've got to draw the lines on the inside of the ear. So we're going to draw a reverse question mark. Okay, so in here, well, if you were to draw a question mark like that, we're just reversing it, and the question mark goes like this. So this will be on the inside. Curve that around. And if you're afraid to mess up, don't press so hard and just draw lightly. So. And if you need to erase, just erase. I feel this could be closer. Let's bring this closer. There we go. This right here is going to curve around this way, and we are just contouring. like this. This comes all the way like this. On the inside here, looks like one of these wrenches. Okay, if you've ever fixed the car or seen this tool, it looks like a wrench. So we want to kind of create that Mr. Krabs kind of thing right there. So if you've ever drawn Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob, we kind of want that in here. So right there, we want this right there. So I did it in red ahead of time, so you know what I'm going to do before I do it. There's a shadow in here. And then there's a shadow in there. And that shadow comes all the way. And then we have a little bump. There's a little bump on our ear right there. There we go, here, here. You know what I forgot to do is to minimize this window, because in the recordings, it keeps showing it and it blocks the drawing. So let's make it disappear. Boop. Okay, now that that's gone, the students who are watching the videos can see. Looks good to me. All right, this is a little shadow area. I'm just mapping that out. Okay, so just like with the lips, the first thing we need to do is we got to get rid of the white. So we're going to come through and just get this all shaded in. And I'm going about a level 2. I'm not pressing harder than that. I'm just doing a level 2. And if you want to use your finger, you can. I still have my paper towel here. I'm just going to come through. I shaded diagonally. When I blend, I'm going to go the opposite way and change direction. So I'm just going vertically. If you want to go in a circle, you can too. But we're just blending that in. So do that now. Okay, now it's off-white. Okay, we can go through now and pick this drawing apart. Take a look at the picture to the left. Right here, we're focused on this one. Start identifying which parts are dark. So like in my mind, you might have to do it on the paper because you're like a newbie and you're a beginner. But in my mind, I see the little patches and I'm labeling them already. So like this one would be a 6. This would be a 7. The hair back here would be a 7. 7. Down here would be an 8. The shadow underneath here would be a 7. This little shadow above 6 here would be a 5. The shadow behind the ear, because the ear is lighter, right here behind the back of the neck, you can't see me on video, but let me put this back on. But like right here behind the neck, right there, this spot right here, that's darker than the ear. Can you see the difference? There's a difference in darkness. We call that contrast in art. So there's contrast, just like opposites. They're sweet and then they're sour. So you won't know the difference unless you can see it, right? Or you can taste it, touch it, feel it. But we're not talking about food here. We're talking about just seeing the differences in darks. That's a little darker. So if you had to number this, This number would be higher in terms of darkness, and this number will be lighter. So the ear might stay at a level 2 or a level 3. But this part here is probably going to be a 4 or a 5. It looks like, if I just come here and I look at the bar, the value scale, it looks like a 5 to me. Yeah, it looks like a 5. So question in the chat is asking, Mr. Herr, how come you can like look at the picture and then you can tell on the bar how dark you're going to press? How are you doing that? How do you see that, right? So that's a great question. Honestly, I blur my eyes. I'm not looking at the lines. I make my vision go blurry and I blur my eyes so that only the shadows appear to me. And then I just see the tones. So you want to like unfocus your eyes, stop looking at the details of the hair and the vein, and blur your vision so that all you see is the tonal differences. Once you blur your vision, you can see the tones as flat colors. And then you just match those flat tone colors to the bar here. So that is a really good question that allowed me to give you a really good artistic tip. So that's how I do it. So I label that, and I wanted to slow down for this. Now that you've seen how I go through the process, I'm going to shade everything in, and I'll go really, really quick now because I was explaining it. But once you understand, now I can go fast. So I apologize if I lose you and I'm shading too fast, but I already explained how I see it in my mind's eye. So I'm just going to start adjusting the pressure of my hand to those numbers that I pre-labeled. So this is super dark. And this is semi. This is about a level 6. So number 6. And it gets lighter over here, so I'm just going to ease off the pressure. It's rough, yes. It is rough, and it looks ugly, but just like yesterday when we were doing the lips and the eyes the day before that, it is going to be rough and patchy at first, but we just want to get it on there. We just want to color it flat, and then we'll go through and do the blending and make it all pretty. But right now, you just want to get all the graphite on there. Okay, so this is definitely darker. I got to come back through. Get that in. And that just means this is a little darker further still. So just come through and keep working it. All right. Now we can focus on the inside. So I'm just going to get all those dark patches here. There's a dark patch here. And we have some shading in here. Some shading here. I'm just going in circular motions. I'm doing little circles, okay? Hopefully you guys can see that, little circles. If I slow down, I'm just doing little circles. And then this comes up and the shading is softer there. And this is darker. This is darker. So I'm pressing harder. Bring this part in. Please take note that I have not done any number ones. There was no highlights that I wanted to take care of right off the bat, but I am aware that they are there. I'm just letting you know that I'll come back and get them. I see the highlights, but I don't want to distract you and start doing them right now because we want to get the tones first, and then I'll come back and white out anything that is lighter. All right, and then the face is right here. Okay, so I'm gonna come through and blend it now, okay? So I'm just blending. Let's get this blended out. There we go. Light pressure, I just want to blend this out. Just texturizing. Oh, sorry, let me minimize this window again. Oh. Blending the inside here. Constantly checking the reference photo to make sure that I stay accurate. Because if I stop looking at the picture, I might start drawing what's in my mind and not what's being seen. So you were drawing an ear, Mr. Her. How'd you end up with a picture of a Pokemon? I was like, oh, sorry. Started to daydream. So remember, draw what you see. When you're trying to capture it, you got to become a human camera. I'm just blending in any of my rough textures and smoothing them out. All right, that looks good to me. Now I'm gonna come back through with a mechanical pencil and I'll draw the hair now. So once we have the shadows shaded in, we have created that three-dimensional effect and we have the form. Now we just got to come back through and add texture. So I'm just going to texturize the bottom part here to draw that. See how this edge right here is soft? You can't really see the edge. So I'm just going to come back through and bring that edge back a little. So with my mechanical pencil, I'm just going to bring that edge back I kind of want this edge to be harder again, so I'm just gonna, anything that became a little fuzzy or soft, you might want to bring the edge back to those areas. So I'm just gonna bring that back. Bring this edge back. And bring this edge. Okay, and it's starting to look more and more like an ear. Okay, so hair, right? We're doing texture, so I'm just going like this, and I'm overlapping. Some are in front, some are in back, some are going this way. So we're just overlapping. And then now some are changing directions and they're going this way. Hopefully you can see that on camera. And we don't have to draw that much hair because most of it was shaded in and darkened out. So here and there, I'll just add a few strands. There's some dark patches back here. All right. Just going to blend that out a little. Okay. So remember how I was talking about highlights? The last thing I'm going to do is come back in and bring those highlights into my ear. Okay, so this right here is going to go, there's like a little white strand of hair that comes this way. So I'm just going to use my eraser to draw that in. Just to create that white strand of hair. And then I'll use my blending tool to bring this back. Okay. Just using my eraser. We have some hair in here that are white as well. So I'm just going to highlight a couple of those areas and draw a few strands. Hopefully the camera caught that. Okay, so I'm just highlighting a few pieces there. We have a few pieces back here as well. So I'm just using my eraser. And I'm just highlighting a few pieces there, a few pieces in here. All right. And then they're not so white. They almost fade out. So I'm just going to come back in and blend them out a little, just to hide them a little bit, just enough for you to notice them. And then they fade away. So they're not as white as the ones over here. So if you don't know how to do hair, that was a quick tutorial. All right, I also have to clean up and highlight some parts in the ear. So there's this white highlight in this part here. So I'm just gonna move that. Got some highlights back here. So I'm just removing little spots here and there, making them a little wider. Top of the ear there, we got a shiny spot right here, so I'm just removing that part. And if you remove too much, just kind of blend back in around it. So this part here is white, so I'm just gonna bring that back in there. Got some highlights here. Just clean that up a little bit. And this part right here is a highlight. So I'm just going to clean this little bump of the ear off. So. So see how the highlights come back and they work? You don't have to do the highlights first. Just like on day one when we were shading the value script, I said that you can go from light to dark, or you can go from dark to light. It doesn't matter which order you do it, just as long as you understand where those spots are and you can target them. You can make the adjustments sooner or later. Okay, so this is the ear. Let me get a ruler. Encase this drawing with straight lines. Here we go. Ta-da! Okay, I'm ending the recording here.